When it comes to super late model racing, we like to say August belongs to Kentucky. Beginning at Ponderosa Speedway with the 25th Annual Pete Abel Memorial, 7,500 to win Valvoline Ironman Late Model Series. Then the Crown Jewel, the North-South 100 at Florence Speedway, 75,000 to win for the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series. The Paul Butterball Waters Memorial at Richmond Raceway, 20,059 to win for the Ultimate Heart of America Super Late Model Series. Then to end the month, the Harold Hardgrove Memorial at Lake Cumberland Speedway, 15,000 to win for the Valvoline Ironman Late Model Series. It's true. When it comes to super late model racing, August belongs to Kentucky. August is here. This is Kentucky's Dirt Racing Podcast. Now, here's another edition of Dirt Racing in the Bluegrass Live, presented by Smokehouse Grill and Buffet. And welcome in, everyone, to the Bluegrass Restoration and Construction Studio. This segment is sponsored by Dirtman Diecast. Go check him out at dirtmandiecast.com or at your local racetrack. You can call the Racetrack Connection hotline. That number is 859-412-1287. I do want to get to some phone calls tonight, Wes. In fact, I want to hear from some folks out there who have some memories of Harold Hardgrove, some people who knew him well. I'd love to get some of those phone calls going this evening, as we do have the Harold Hardgrove Memorial coming up this weekend at Lake Cumberland. Man, it's hard to believe we're already to August 23rd. The last weekend of August is coming up. August belongs to Kentucky, but I tell you what, this month has absolutely flown by.
It has. It is absolutely flown by, but you know what? We've watched a lot of racing. We've had a blast, and looking forward to a huge weekend at Lake Cumberland Speedway on Saturday with the Harold Hardgrove Memorial.
Yeah, we've watched a lot of racing. We've had a lot of fun this week, man. I tell you what, I mean, it's just such a fun month. I mean, it's just bam, everything is coming at you. And it's over with before you know it, but we've had so much fun this whole month, really. I mean, starting with Ponderosa Speedway and then going to the north-south up at Florence, and then this past weekend with the 36th Annual Butterball. Man, that was a fun time. I tell you what, we were there both Friday and Saturday night. It's just one of those races here in this state, in this area. It's a special event, and it certainly didn't disappoint. I mean, like I said, we had a lot of fun. Everybody we talked to there at Richmond Raceway had a lot of fun as well. Good racing, man. It's just a good time for sure. I really enjoyed myself this past weekend.
Yeah, we had a really good time. Friday night and Saturday night both. A busy weekend for sure. As I had to work both Friday and Saturday, but I wouldn't have traded it for anything, and we definitely had fun and saw some really good racing there at Richmond.
Yeah, it was really good, man, and I tell you, the track was fast too. I mean, Greg Johnson Friday night, he went out and they said he actually shattered the track record in hot laps. And then he went back out in qualifying and didn't quite make it to the track record. I think he ran like maybe an 8, I don't remember, 14 flat or 13.8. One of them, I think maybe 13.8's the track record. And he was a few tenths off of it. But I mean, the track was against the wall, and it was hammered down on Friday night, and qualifying in itself was fun to watch. Those guys wheel those race cars around Richmond. It's just hairy, man. It's hard to believe that they can do it.
Yeah, it as everybody calls it, it had a little character to it, and it was fast. I know, as you mentioned, Wild Thing Greg Johnson was flying, and Michael Chilton, the Wild Child, he was bad fast. He was overall fast qualifier, and those guys were really they were moving. And then on Saturday, Ricky Weiss, the Manitoba Missile, ends up winning the race, and and I don't think anybody had anything for him. He was super fast. He was dicing lap cars, and it would have been kind of cool to see at times if the caution hadn't come out, and then other times a caution might have been needed. But I don't know if anybody had anything for him, and pretty cool for him to win back to back Butterballs.
Yeah.
He's got Richmond figured out. Got a good little notebook on it.
Yeah, he really does, and I mean, he was in another zip code. I feel like I mean, I think it would have taken something going wrong for him for anybody to do anything with Ricky Weiss on Saturday. I mean, he was just really fast and looked from start to finish, he pretty much had it locked down, and so. But otherwise, it was a good race. I mean, I think Justin Ratliff started 23rd, and he came up to where did he end up?
I think it was 24th to 7th.
Okay, 24th to 7th, and so he came through the field, and then Dustin Linville started back in the field. He comes all the way up to 5th. I don't know where'd he start. It was back there. I know.
I think he was 18th or 19th to 5th. I mean,
Yeah.
so that's saying something right there.
Right.
When you can come through that field, I think we ended up with 31 cars, and it was stout competition, and
Yeah.
and even to see, um, we did have some crate cars that ran Friday and Saturday, but that's something, saying something for those guys to make the show on Saturday because it was a good state of Kentucky regional field. And then, Friday rolls in and you have Hoffman show up. And that was, I mean, nobody really expected to see him.
No.
And he had bad luck on Friday and was unable to run Saturday. And Zach Dome had trouble on Friday in a heat race. So did Cameron Marler. So I hated to see them guys not be able to compete on Saturday because they had mechanical issues or was involved in several wrecks. So hated to see it for those guys, but just a stout field, probably one of the toughest fields as far as Butterball goes that I've noticed in the last couple of years for sure.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think top to bottom, it was definitely one of the toughest fields and a good field of cars overall. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just one of those things. A lot of times people pay attention to the winner, and you think, well, Ricky Weiss kind of stunk it up, and sometimes that happens. Like sometimes, part of this is like it's racing, and sometimes the guy's just so fast that there are no passes for the lead. But back through the field, and the thing about it is too, sometimes people come from the back and there's a lot of an attrition, right? Like it's you got a lot of people falling out and that sort of thing. Well, it wasn't the case Saturday. I mean, everybody stayed out there, and those guys, it was fun watching. To me, it was fun watching those two guys come from the back. I mean, Linville was in a couple situations there. I think it was Greg Johnson and Jason Jameson, and they were 3 wide, and Dustin was in the middle of it. Coming off 2 and 4, and man, you're just kind of holding your breath there. It takes some guts to keep that car, in that position. And then one time he ended up backing out of it, thought better of it. But like I said, I mean, it was a lot of fun watching those guys come from the back to the front because that's good, hard racing and never making any contact. They got a lot of talent, man, a lot more than I could ever have.
Yeah, and we talked, after the race, we talked to both of those guys. We talked to Dustin and Justin as well. And Ratliff was like, man, I talked to him after he won the crate feature, and he said, if I could have just qualified better, he said, that put me in a bind. He said, I had a really good car. He said, but I didn't qualify good, and that kind of put him behind the 8 ball. And, to see where he came from, I mean, he was flying. And same way with Linville. Linville had issues. I think he broke. Both of them had to race a B main to get in. And, we talked to Linville. I was like, a couple times you was 3 wide there with Jameson and Johnson, and he was like, "Yeah, I was right. I was right between them." He said, "I was like the peanut butter and the jelly between the sandwich." And I said, "Yeah, a couple times you let out of it, or they'd probably been the awfulest wreck ever was." He said, "Yeah, but just great
Yeah.
hard racing, and when you can see." We saw it several times over the weekend. 3 wide at Richmond. You
Mm-hmm.
ain't got a lot of places to go. I mean, you're on the
Mm.
wall, you're in the middle, you're on the bottom, and we saw that several times in heat races and also in the features. So just a really good weekend of racing, and just glad we could be there and be a part of it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you're right. 3 wide at Richmond. I mean, you get 3 wide. There ain't much room to spare. In fact, I don't think there's any room to spare. But it was fun to see and really cool to see. I mean, been a lot of races at Richmond that's all been on the bottom, and we as race fans don't necessarily like that too much. So it's just good to see that racing all over the track and the possibility of 3 wide. It was fun to see for sure. I had a great time, and thanks to all the folks over there at Richmond Raceway for having us, and looking forward to doing it again next year. It's one of those events like all these here in the month of April that you just
Month
look
of
forward
April,
to.
month of August. We ain't in
Hey.
April.
Oh yeah, it is
Golly.
August, ain't it? Yeah, that's right. It is. Well, I wish it's getting so late in the year. I kind of wish we could go back to April, man. Like just if we could go back to April, we'd have a whole new race season again. So,
I know it, and
man,
we've had so much fun. The amount of racing that we've done this year, I would I can't even put a number to how many we've attended.
yeah.
I wouldn't have a clue, but I know it's been a lot, and just having so much fun. And we just thank all of our sponsors, our fans, the drivers, promoters, owners. We just thank everybody, because we are really really having a good time doing this, and hope you all are enjoying it as well. Something I was going to mention, Josh, before we forget it. Our good buddy Mike Jewell, we want to thank him for kind of passing the torch and letting us present the Trophy of Legends there
Mm,
at the Butterball. That was just so cool to meet him and get to talk to him. Um, you want to
yeah.
know that man's got a ton of racing knowledge, and he's been around it his whole life. So really cool to meet him this past
Mm.
weekend as well.
Yeah, yeah, and pictures, and I got to go to. That was another thing. I got to go to breakfast. Well, actually, it was lunch, but I got to go to lunch at the Smokehouse Grill. A couple of guys met us. You couldn't go, Wes. Wes had to work, and I hated that. We really wish you could have been there, but yeah, man, that was fun. Like Brian Asbury was there, and the Flying Frenchman, and Caution, and Mike Jewell, and just being around people like Brian Asbury, and just the stories that he can tell. It's just so much fun, from back in the day, behind the scenes kind of stuff that if you weren't sitting there with the first Butterball winner, you'd never get to hear those kind of things. And so that was really was a lot of fun. Like, I mean, I want to keep doing that every year, and I hope it grows. Hope we can get more people to come out just pre-race lunch. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I really, really hate that I missed that and had to work, but I'm just glad that it did work out to where I could go home and work Saturday, and then was Annabeth and I made it back up, for the race on Saturday, and we didn't miss anything, so that was good. But just good to talk to all those guys that was able to go to that luncheon with you at Smokehouse Grill, and I just really hate that I wasn't able to be there, and just the fellowship and talk racing and get ready for talk about the B mains that was lined up, and the other features that was going to take place on Saturday, and then the big 59 lap um, to win Butterball. Just to get to talk about that before the race. That's something we all enjoy doing as fans, and I missed out on that, and I hate that I did.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like I said, it was a lot of fun. Hopefully next year we get to do it again, and it'll work out with your schedule and everything that you'll be able to be there because it really was a good time and a good time overall for the weekend. I want to mention also Mudlick ran last Saturday. They're running as well this Saturday, man. Just want to give a shout out. Actually, Zane Powell picked up the crate late model win over there at Mudlick this past weekend. But just overall, I watched Jeff Soxie's videos with Race Rumble, man. That I got to give them a lot of credit. I think from the beginning of the year to this year, the improvements they've made, they've worked really hard on that racetrack to get it right. And they have racing there. Just looks like a whole lot of fun. It was but they had to fix that. They put concrete up this week, I saw, but they're just doing an awesome job and really appreciate what they're doing. You know, they've put Mud Lick on the map. I mean, they really have. There was a lot of people out there coming into this year who had never heard of Mudlick Valley, or they didn't take Mudlick seriously. Now they are, and kudos to them because they're doing a great job. They really are.
Yeah, they are, and I'm just looking forward to making a trip up there. I know you got to go earlier in the year, and I haven't been able to make the trip up, but hopefully before the end of the racing season, I'll get to make a trip up there, and both of us will get to go up there together. Would be really good.
Well, they really. Someone was sending me a text there. I got distracted, Wes. I'm worse than a squirrel. I mean, it's like squirrel. What
Yeah.
But we need to go ahead. But anyways, yeah, I wanted to say that. Hopefully, we can make it back up there. They want us to, and I've been talking to Jamie about when we can get back over there to another event there at Mudlick Valley, and because they were the first ones actually to reach out to us and offer to sponsor us, and so really big deal them to do that. So want to get that going. And well, let's go ahead real quick. While I've got is Annabeth, is she close? Like, can you? Is there a way that we could go ahead? Because mine's standing here looking at me. If we don't go ahead and get this going, yeah, he's ready to go. And hey, Brantley, can you turn the lights on? So it's getting dark on me in here. I'm gonna get his assistance while we're waiting real quick. I forgot to turn the lights on. The light switch is right there by the door. So, all right, there we go.
Give me just a second.
It's blinding me. Well, he's doing laps right now.
Yeah, here she is. Look here.
All right, here we go. All right, Brantley, we're ready. We're ready for you. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna call this Kids Edition. Wes, we've been picking the winners here lately, and that's kind of boring, honestly. I think people are getting bored of hearing us pick winners. So I decided, I think it'd be best if we just make this a kids edition of pick the winners. So Brantley and Annabeth coming on here with us now. Wes, the deal was there was no coaching. We weren't allowed to coach because this is going to count toward the pick the winners steak dinner challenge. But I want to let the kids pick the winners for the Harold Hardgrove Memorial coming up this weekend.
She can't hear. Hold on a minute. Let me give her this.
Okay. All right. You hand that off to the star of the hour. All right. Now Wes can't hear, but Annabeth can. All right. So Annabeth, you and Brantley are going to pick the winners for the Harold Hardgrove Memorial coming up this weekend at Lake Cumberland Speedway. Now, the deal was, Annabeth, Wes, your dad, he wasn't allowed to coach you. He wasn't allowed to tell you who to pick or any of that kind of stuff. So I want you to confirm he wasn't in your ear before the show started, was he?
Mm-mm.
All right. I'm trusting you. So, all right, Brantley. I think it should be ladies first of all. So we'll let Annabeth go first. And we'll let her go ahead and pick the winner for Lake Cumberland this weekend. Annabeth, who you got?
Out of Campbellsville, Kentucky, I picked J. Watt.
Okay, all right. So Jeff Watson, well, he'll be there, I'm sure, in the Pro Late Model and the Super. So 2 chances, really, Wes. I tell you what, I like Annabeth so much that if he wins either of those, I'll give you the point. So we'll go with that. All right, Brantley, it's your pick this weekend, Lake Cumberland Speedway. Who you got?
Is Josh Rice going to be in this? Because that's who I pick, really.
Okay, all right. So we got Josh Rice coming up this weekend at Lake Cumberland Speedway. Well, I think that's a pretty good pick, to be honest with you. He wins a lot. What was your reason behind picking Josh Rice?
It's really because of all the times he wins. I just think it's pretty cool that he can do that.
Yeah, well, he does win quite a bit. So I'll definitely agree with you. So, all right. So we've got Jay Watt, Jeff Watson, and Josh Rice. So I think those are 2 pretty good picks, I'll have to say. Well, I want to ask you guys just one more question. I'll let you go. I know you got better things to do than sit here on our podcast. But Annabeth, do you like going to the races? Is it something you enjoy doing?
I do. I really do like going to the races and seeing who wins and all that.
Okay. All right. So your favorite part then is just seeing who wins, right?
Yeah.
All right. Good deal. Okay, Brantley. What about you? You like going to the races?
Sometimes, but not all the time.
Yeah. Well, that's a better answer than I figured it might be. I was afraid it might be no. So I'll take that at least. What's your favorite part when you do go to the races? What's your favorite part about going to the races?
Sometimes we try and pick the winner against us, and we put the points in, and whoever's closest to first, we get a point, and whoever wins at the end of the day, most of the time it's just a win.
Yeah, but it's usually you winning though, right? I mean, really. I mean, you usually win that. Kind of like Wes usually wins in the steak dinner challenge. So, all right. Well, Kids Edition, pick the winner. Thank you, Annabeth. Thank you, Brantley. It was a lot of fun. All right.
Sure is.
All right. There you go. All right. Start them off young.
Love you.
Wes Lanham. So start them off young here in the podcasting business. Did you knock the microphone off the table? I mean, did you hit the piano with something back there in the background or what?
I hit the printer.
Well, at least it wasn't the piano. You don't want to put a piano in that thing.
Here's the thing. I keep getting all this flack over the bedroom. Every time, even 71-year-old Mike Jewell, he was like, always in that bedroom. So I was like, well, we're gonna go back in the mansion and try that backdrop a little.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, it works. So yeah. So Riley Kate and Brantley are good buddies, and Riley Kate saying hi to Brantley, and so anyway, that was a lot of fun. I'll be honest with you, Wes. The answers went better than I thought they would, at least on my end. It's like Brantley is kind of iffy about his racing fandom right now. He's got other things that he enjoys doing a little bit better than racing right now. I think in a few years that might just turn around. You can't lose hope. Anyways.
Yeah. It will, and I know Annabeth was probably really nervous. I just kind of sprung all this on her when I got home from work today, so I'm sure that she was like, "Oh, really?" I know we had talked about this, but she said it's supposed to be in September.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It was kind of one of those. Hey, baby, you're gonna come on the show tonight, and she was like, okay. I mean, you know how she is. It's a
Yeah.
thousand wonders she didn't, get turned loose and you just talk forever. But it's kind of short answers tonight. But she has, especially over the last, I don't know, couple weeks, month, 2 months or so. She has been at the racetrack a lot with me, and
Yeah.
it's really cool to get to do that and to teach her and her to get interested in it and learning the drivers and it's just really special. For her and I to get to do that, and and you and Brantley have, and he's got a lot of other interests, but
Yeah.
racing will come. It'll come.
He enjoys that too. He really does, and it's part of the downside of us doing this and doing the live coverage stuff and all that is like, before I had the opportunity to go to the racetrack and just kind of hang out with him. And do the pick the winner stuff. Don't get to do that all that much anymore. And honestly, I mean, I kind of miss that. That's something I want to get back to taking some time to do because I think that's important. But yeah, I mean that's really cool. I mean, I grew up loving racing, and I'm sure he will too. And so I don't want to wish years away because they pass too fast as it is. But anyway, yeah, I mean that's at least he knows the name of a race car driver. Wes, I think there's a good chance that Josh Rice might be the only name in racing he knows. If he knows that one, that's a good one, and it makes for a really good pick too. And I think my chances going into this weekend, thanks to Brantley, are pretty good.
Yeah, they are, and Ray's up there. He just knows. He just used like Brantley. Pick the shirt. Let's see that shirt you're wearing today.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah.
Hey, listen.
What's his first name again?
I am a straight up competitor. There's no cheating going on here whatsoever. Well, you know what, Wes? We've got something big to get to here on the show. We've got Jesse Lay coming on here with us in just a few minutes. We're going to bring Jesse Lay on. Man, you talk about, I mean, you told me, hey, we talked about it earlier, let's get Jesse Lay on the show. And I thought, man, I've been watching Jesse Lay race since I've been going to the races, which is, that's a long, I've been going to the races for since I could, like the 90s. And I remember seeing Jesse Lay, Florence and Eldora and like Jesse James Lay, man, like you knew who he was, the Last Outlaw.
The Last Outlaw.
You told me, like lately though, I've heard a couple of announcers announce him as just Jesse, and I've always heard him as Jesse James Lay. So I was like, is that the same as Jesse James Lay? And yeah, I think it is. So we were trying to figure that out. So, it is. Looking forward to talking to him. I mean, gosh, what a career. I'm sure he's got some stories, and really looking forward to talking to him. And just as soon as we come back, we're going to do just that.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. I think he started his career in 1990. We'll have to verify that, but we'll ask him. But if so, I mean that's a heck of a career, and really looking forward to talking to him.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we'll be back in just a minute with the Last Outlaw, Jesse James Lay, here on Dirt Racing and the Bluegrass Live.
This is Worldwide West Lanham. If you're in the market for a storage building, look no further than our friends at Barton's Insulated Buildings. With nearly 30 years in business, they specialize in insulated storage buildings, mobile home underpinning, garages, and pole barns. With 2 locations at 3739 South Laurel Road in London and 3300 Cumberland Falls Highway in Corbin. Call them today at 606-528-7221 and tell them Worldwide West sent you.
Racetrack Connection is a social media app designed specifically for racing. On the app, you can find a track, find a driver, review and print track schedules, and use the chat feature to communicate with other fans and drivers at any event. There's even a map feature where you can locate racetracks all across the U.S., plus many other features, all for free. Download the Racetrack Connection app today. Donnie Kaufman used to say, "It's good enough to make your tongue slap your brains out, honey." That's what we think about the home cooking at Smokehouse Grill and Buffet in Berea. Choose from the delicious options on their home-style buffet and salad bar, or order from the full menu. Not to mention their desserts and some of the best breakfast you'll ever eat. We promise you'll never be disappointed with this racing family-owned business. Visit their friendly staff and grab a bite to eat. Located just off exit 77 in Berea.
Hi there, I'm Alan Feldhouse Jr., head basketball coach at Madison Central High School. Here at MCHS, we have built a winning team. I'd like to tell you about another local winning team, family-owned and operated Bluegrass Restoration and Construction. They specialize in roofing, general construction, and home maintenance services. Just like on the court, you need a team that will work together to get the job done, and that's exactly what BRC does. Give them a call at 859-353-1133. Road Tribe.
And welcome back to the Bluegrass Restoration and Construction Studios. This segment here is sponsored by the Detail Shop. We are now joined by the Last Outlaw, Jesse James Lay. Jesse, it's really good to have you on here with us tonight.
Well, thanks for inviting me, guys. I'm glad to be on. I watched your show the last few episodes. I hadn't known that you guys been on real long, but then the last few episodes I've been watching, especially the one leading up to the North-South, and pretty good stuff, fun stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know, Wes. DJ Smallwood might have helped us out with that. So I don't know if you know.
He did.
Yeah. You know, it's all about having connections, and you end up with someone like Jesse James Lay on here. So really appreciate him helping us out there with that one. Because like I was telling Wes, Jesse, before we brought you on here, it's super cool to have you on. You're still out here running these super late models. I remember watching you race. I mean, in the 90s when I first started going to the races. So you've seen a lot of transition, and you've gone through a lot of eras of super late model racing, for sure.
Oh, absolutely. It's been. I think I started in 1989, which is a long time ago. You're talking the 80s, which seems like forever ago, but doesn't seem that long to me. But anyway, I ran a couple of years in bomber cars and about 3 years in sportsmen, and I was in late models and been in there ever since. But yeah, we ran Battle of the Bluegrass, Sunoco Series. I mean, won at numerous different tracks. We ran a lot of tracks and won at a lot of different tracks. And it's been fun. It's definitely been fun. I don't race near as much as what I used to. My boy, Austin, has come along, and he's taking a lot of the driver's duties over right now. And I run some, but not full time. I just run part time. Okay,
I got you. Are you planning on running this Saturday? Is it going to be part of your schedule to run this Saturday at Lake Cumberland?
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to be down there. Myself and Austin will both be there. I'm on my way back from vacation right now. We're in the camper. Me and my wife, we left the morning after the North-South to go on a road trip, and we're on our way home right now. So, but yeah, they got the cars. They got them just about ready, and we'll both be there.
Good.
Okay. Yeah. That's awesome.
We like to support Brandon, and we like to support Chris Tilley. They both work hard to keep the late models going and give us shows to run and stuff like that. And so we like to support both the tracks and their series every time we get a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, Wes, you noticed Jesse wasn't at Atomic this last weekend. We were like, well, I wonder if he'll be at Lake Cumberland. Well, it turns out he was on vacation. So good to hear you'll be back by this weekend, though. I'm looking forward to seeing you run the Harold Hardgrove Memorial.
Yeah, I look forward to running it. We like running there. The track's been real racy and smooth all year. Brandon works his butt off at both there and Ponderosa, and we enjoy running both of them as much as we can.
He does. He has done a really good job at both tracks this year. The racing, and we've watched, I think we've watched every race at Ponderosa and almost every race this year at Lake Cumberland, and both track surfaces have been really good, have been racy, they've been smooth, and looking forward to the same this weekend at Lake Cumberland. And I know this one is definitely special for Brandon, he wants the track and everything to go just as perfect as it can. And I know he's working his butt off to give that to the fans and the racers this weekend.
Yeah, he was going to have a practice Friday night, and he ended up canceling it because it's going to be so hot. He don't want to trash the track and wants to give everybody a good surface and put on a good program. This definitely means a lot to him. And obviously, he does a great job of prepping the track. I mean, that Ponderosa Outlaw race where Mikey Marler comes from the tail to win the thing out, I mean, that's damn near the race of the year. I mean, that don't get much better than that. You don't see that happen much anymore. You know what I mean?
No.
It's
been the best race I've watched this year. It's probably been the best race I've watched probably in the last 5 years. I mean, it was a sight to see.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, do have to give Larry Yance credit for that track prep too. We can't leave Larry Yance out on that. But You're right, Brandon, man, at Lake Cumberland, like weekend consistently, that is just an awesome surface. Always racy, fun. We were just talking. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I can't wait. There's been talk of some National Series stuff coming to Lake Cumberland possibly next year. The best in the business, all in one place on Lake Cumberland Speedway. Man, when that happens, I just can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
As a fan.
Oh, it'll be exciting. Those small tracks. A lot of people like these big tracks like Eldor and stuff, which is great once or twice a year, but you want the good racing. You get on the bull rings, the leaders get in lap traffic, they got to change their line, the cars aren't as air dependent. You hear the drivers all the time talk about, I lost the nose because his air messed me up. You don't get that on these little tracks. It's Rubbins racing and up on the wheel and everybody for himself. The lap traffic is what really makes it exciting when you got to slice and dice and change grooves.
Absolutely. That's what we love is the bull rings, and I mean that's where your racing comes into play, and that's the excitement. When you can put those top 2, 3, 4 cars under a blanket and let them battle and slide jobs and dicing in and out of lap traffic, that's when it really gets fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to come back to the Harold Hardgrove Memorial here in just a minute, but Jesse, while we've got you on here, like I said, I mean, I think it's cool to have you on here because like I've watched you race since I was born in '88, so not quite '89, maybe not to my recollection anyway. But I've watched you race for years. You've gone through a lot of eras in racing. You've gone through a lot of different, just fun stuff, like you talked about with the Battle of the Bluegrass Dirt Car Series. I mean, you've run at Florence. I've seen you run at Eldora. You've done it all since 1989. What do you think through that? Like, what was the best era? Like for you, is it now? It could even be now. What's the best time in racing for Jesse James Lay?
Gosh, I'll tell you, there's been a lot of it over the years, but I would say probably those Battle of the Bluegrass days were probably some of the best ones because you had a lot of tracks within a 3 or 4 hour radius of our house that we could go to. I mean, you had 8 or 10 tracks on the schedule, and you'd go to each of them 2 or 3 times. Bardstown was still open, the old Bardstown. I love that place. And Clinton County, I won down there. I won at Bardstown. I won Lake Cumberland, Richmond. I mean, just on and on and on. There were several tracks that was just, you had a good group of guys. Myself and Eddie Carrier, we battled it out for the Points Championship the one year. I think he ended up winning it. I led it for most of the year and then had some problems late in the year. I ended up third behind, like, he won it, and like Timmy Yeager was second, and I ended up third. But we ran the first 2 or 3 years religiously, and just the friends you met along the way, and the hanging out and running up and down the road with them. But the racing was, in my opinion, better back, I don't know, late 90s, early 2000s. There wasn't so much technology in it, and I mean, right now, everybody's so fast all the time, and qualifying means so much. You got to start up front. Back then, it wasn't nothing for a guy to charge from 12th or farther back in a night and come up there and win the race. I mean, but that just doesn't happen very much anymore.
Yeah, yeah. I know. You said you just found out about our podcast. Just started watching it a couple of weeks ago with the North South 100. You'll have to go back and look. You can find our podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You can listen to them there. You can go back on Facebook and watch. But we did a whole series before the racing season started on the Battle of the Bluegrass Dirt Car series. So you'll probably want to go back and listen to some of that. It was a fun time. But yeah, I think I agree with you. It was just guys like local guys from right here, in our area, battling out each and every week. Just a whole lot of fun. That Sunday race, Wes, you brought that up. Tilly posted about it earlier at Lake Cumberland. So many good memories came for you guys from that Battle of the Bluegrass series.
Yeah, I think they could still keep that going. Right now, Ironman with Chris, he tries to do as much as he can to keep it going, and getting enough tracks secured is sometimes a problem. That Ultimate series, the guy that runs Richmond, he's got a series going on, but he's just all over the country. I mean, but as far as having a base centrally located somewhere within 2 to 3 hours of Central Kentucky, Chris is doing a great job trying to build that. I'd love to see more tracks get on board with that. Because, I mean, realistically, I was telling somebody the other day, well, actually, I'm good friends with a promoter, and a promoter I know, we were talking about, I told him, I said, these races where like Brush Creek and Moeller and those guys, they've been running 5,000 to win, 1,000 to start races. This last one that was 6,000 to win for Moeller, they had 47 late models. They've sold out. I mean, standing room only, and the concessions was backed up to the stands all night. So I was like, we need to look at fattening up the purse. It don't need to be 15 grand to win, 2,000 per second, and 400 to start from there on back. The guys will show up. You'll get more cars, and more cars bring more fans and more drivers. It's got to be the people like Chris Tilley with the Ironman series and like people like that. That's what's keeping the regional guys racing right now and keeping us alive. Because the one promoter I was telling you about that I was talking to, he's like, well, if it's not World of Outlaws or Lucas Oil, you really can't much run late models anymore. And I'm like, well, Brandon Hardgrove is doing a damn good job of it, and so are some other people. I said, if every promoter had a mindset of you can only run a Lucas or Outlaw race, then all of us regional guys will end up just selling all our stuff. And then when Lucas comes in here, they can bring their 15 guys, and then you'll have 15 guys show up to race because nobody else is going to have any equipment. We got to have places to race, and it doesn't have to be a regular show. I'm not saying that local tracks need to run late models every weekend for $5 grand to win, but I'm saying once a month, if every track would pick once a month and pick a Friday and a Saturday within 2 to 3 hours where we would have places to race on a consistent basis, that's going to build the cars from the bottom up, build it back up some. I mean, a lot of your crate guys, if you're running late model races for 1,000 to start and they're getting paid 800 to win, they're going to get them a super motor. And next thing you know, we got more cars that are in supers. Because if not, you can't just rely on the two big shows of Lucas or World of Outlaws to carry everybody in the country, because we just ain't going to be able to sustain the regional guys at that rate. I mean, Atomic's doing a good job, and I think Portsmouth does a good job, and Brandon with Ponderosa and Lake Cumberland and Moeller's thrown some events in there. I mean, I think those guys are trying to do a pretty good job, even if it ain't a series, just to give us places to race. I mean, but Brandon has been at the top of the list around here with Ponderosa and Lake Cumberland. I mean, if we race 35 times this year, probably a dozen of them is going to be Ponderosa and Lake Cumberland.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And I agree with you. You know, if you don't have shows at other tracks, you don't have to be a Lucas or a World Outlaws, to run a late model show. I watched that night on Crazy John Sandlin at Moeller, and 47 late models. Hey, that was a heck of a show. You had guys from all over that region, and that's a good area for racing in general, but especially a 2 to 3 hour radius around that place. And you seen what it produced, and I mean, he'd scan the crowd. There wasn't. It was standing room only, like packed out. And that's a place I've never got to go watch a race. I tried to a couple years ago, and it would have been a dandy show, but they got rained out. And I don't think it was a series race, but it was 5,000 or 6,000 to win super race. And I think they had 38 or 40 supers and a bunch of modifieds. I mean, it's a good area, and I'd love to go watch a race up there.
Yeah, the good thing about this area up here, like you got Florence, from where we're at, our race shop's only about a quarter mile from Florence, maybe a half mile. And I mean, from that area there, you got Atomic 2 hours away, Portsmouth 2 hours away, Brownstown 2 hours away, Ponderosa, Lake Cumberland, all less than 2 hours away. I mean, out just in that one circle, you group in a whole bunch of tracks there. I think I said Brownstown also in there. So, I mean, there's 6, 7 tracks right there that they work together. Everybody, you don't have to run 10 or 15,000 to win shows to get everybody there. It sounds good to the fans, and it gets the fans there, and I know that's their number one priority. And Braylon's done a great job of getting fans there this year too. It's been super fan friendly, fireworks shows and everything else. I mean, it's just been, he's packed the house. Yeah, I mean, and I'm glad to see him because he does a very good job of promoting. I mean, from the time the gates open, he's walking around shooting pictures of cars, doing live stuff, saying, here, these cars are here. There's more rolling in. Gates are open. Cars are backed up to the street. Need to get here. It's going to be a big night. I mean, he's on it for a couple weeks in advance, right up till race time. You know what I mean? So he just he promotes the crap out. I'm glad to see he's doing well. But as racers, we need all promoters to do well.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
You was talking about that show at Ponderosa, that World of Outlaws show. Man, it really did have, and not to take nothing away from the North-South 100, but it had that feel of a North-South 100. Right. I mean, people just kept coming in, and it was standing room only. The infield was full, the grandstands was full, the pits was full, cars everywhere. I mean, just awesome night. And then Mikey to come from 22nd to win it in 50 laps, unreal. And that place went crazy.
Oh, being a local there, being a local to win it from the tail with that biggest crowd. I mean, the crowd was just the most I've ever seen there. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, really cool.
Yeah, it was. You talked about, though, local regional stuff. It almost seems like right now, Jesse, I mean, it almost seems like it's feast or famine in some ways. I mean, like nationally, there's 100,000. West, we've talked about this. There's 100,000, 50,000, 100,000 to win races everywhere. But you're talking about these payouts and things that promoters can do to help regional and local, not just super late model racing, but just local racing in general. I mean, without keeping these tracks going through local and regional drivers, as a sport in general, we're going to be in bad shape if we don't do things to make sure the local and regional stuff is strong, don't you think?
Absolutely. When I was talking to the promoter that I was telling you about, I'm not going to say his name, but he told me that, and I was like, well, what's going to happen when all the regional guys sell all their stuff because there's not enough regional stuff to keep them alive? He's like, well, then the World of Outlaws and Lucas will just combined. I'm like, well, there's not going to be enough money there for 25, 30 guys every week, and your guys in the back that's getting 1,000 show-up money. Eventually, they're going to drop off. So I said, what's your big shows? He's got 2 real big shows a year. I was like, so is your big shows just going to turn into a Crown Jewel crate race or a Crown Jewel modified race? I said, good luck with that. I mean, that's just not going to work out. I said, promoters, series directors, I mean, everybody, they got to have enough foresight to look 5 to 7 years down the road. What's going to make it sustainable? Because the promoters, they do make, this one promoter makes his whole year off these 2 big shows. I mean, the 2 big shows a year, packs the house, makes tons of money, and nothing else really supports. I mean, it just breaks even would be my guess. You know what I mean? So, but if that fails, 5 to 7 years, and he ain't making no money off of that, I mean, he's out of business like everybody else. You know what I mean? So you just got to get to the point where they got to look a little bit farther and if every track would just have a 5,000 to win and 700 or 1,000 to start once a month, and they bounce it around between 6 or 8 tracks, enough to give the regional guys. Like I said, Chris Tilley does a good job. He's got rained out a lot this year, and he's trying to, I think he's really working on some stuff. He joined UMP Dirt Car this year, and I think for next year they're really working on some stuff. Him and Sam trying to build back in some of the purse structures and some of the racetracks to help build the late models back up. Because I mean, the sustainability is not going to come from the top down by throwing more money at the national guys that don't really even need the money. It's going to be, sustainability is going to be coming from those regional guys that when you come to Brownstown, your Gilpins and your Jarrett Baileys, and those guys are going to be there to race, your Kent Robinsons, you know what I mean? They're going to be there to race because they was able to sustain, but they're not just going to hold on to their equipment to race 2 Lucas races a year at Brownstown, and that's it. I mean, that just doesn't make sense. And they're not going to move down to a crate series driver or a modified, just like myself or Austin. I mean, if we're not running late models, we're out. And then we ain't going to the track at all. We'll get a boat, we'll go camping, we'll do it at something different. You know what I mean? So, but nobody wants to talk about the regional stuff. It's great that the money's getting really good for the traveling guys, but the regional guys don't need a whole lot. Like I said, if you had 5,000 or 7,500 to win, you had 700 to 1,000 to start, and you had them grouped up where you had plenty of races to choose from. That's sustainable. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that they need to do it every single week. Like I said, it's once a month per track is easily feasible, I would think, if you're a decent promoter.
Yeah, I agree with. And one of the things I think, you know, I miss the days. One of the things I miss about, and Wes, I think we've talked about this before too. I miss the I guess you'd say the old day, the Battle of the Blue. That's not really old days. That wasn't that long ago, but in a way, I guess it was. I mean, it's 2002 when it started. But one of the things I miss about it is you had these events that were based around local and regional drivers, and you had these rivalries right here at home that were created, and you had these paychecks that weren't all that much going to the winner, but they were going to these local guys. And I'm a homer myself. I'll be honest with you. I really am. I would much rather see 10,000, for example, if it's possible, stay at home here regionally than, 20,000 or 50,000 or 100,000 or whatever it might be, go to someone who most people in this area have never even heard of. I miss the days of local and regional guys be able to be on more of a competitive level for some of these events that are important to us right here in the state of Kentucky.
Yeah, I agree with you, and we talked about it. We've talked about it all year, but especially when we were doing our, reliving the days of the Battle of the Bluegrass. I mean, you talk about those guys, and the cool thing was you didn't never know who was going to show up to race for 3,000 or 5,000 to win. So you had your local guys, your Kentucky drivers, your regional drivers that would compete against your national drivers at the time, or looking at some of the national drivers that cut their teeth in that Battle of the Bluegrass series, and now look where they're at today. For instance, Mike Marlar, Eddie Carrier Jr., them guys, for instance, and, it made all of those drivers better because it was so competitive. They beat and banged and raced hard each and every week. And like you said, it is cool because you do have the rivalries. You had fans in the stands that loved or hated a driver. I mean, it was racing. And that's when I came into the game in 2005 and got to watch, dirt racing for the first time and just fell in love with it. And I've been passionate about it ever since. But it was that grassroots series, and Battle of the Bluegrass played such a big part in my love for the sport, and it's just cool. And I watched all of these guys, including you, Jesse, race, and it's just awesome. And just to see, and a lot of those guys like yourself are still racing, and that's what's cool too. Keep going, man. Keep racing. Race till you're 100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys that race to be a lot older than me. So, but I've slowed it down. I'll race maybe 10 times a year. Sometimes it helps when I don't race because I'm trying to help develop Austin, and it's hard for me to see him if I'm racing too, but I can't give him as much of attention. But then on the other time, sometimes it's good when we're both racing because we can come in. A lot of times our cars were set up very similar, and I can ask him what he's feeling. I can tell him what I'm feeling, and we can make some adjustments and see, trying to get him to feel that too and get him there a little quicker setup wise. And sometimes his car likes different things than what I like. Yeah, I mean, so sometimes we work together like that, and other times we end up I just go help him and I be a part of the crew. And that's fun too. I get as much enjoyment out of it as I do racing anymore, because come Monday, the double washing up of the cars and the double the body work and the double the maintenance and the double the tires, that gets to be a little bit of work.
Yeah. Well, I'm like Wes. You just keep on racing, man. Just keep on keeping on, because we certainly enjoy you watching you. Well, Brian Stickrod, he asked a question here. I've got to get to this. Or not a question. He said, talk about the days in the steel car. What's he talking about? Help us out with that one.
Those were my first days when I first started racing. I drove for two brothers and another guy. It was Mark Kraler, Dave Kraler, and Bill Shieldman. They owned CNS Motorsports up in Sharonville. And when I was getting ready to come out of Sportsman, which was limited late model, I had bought a trailer. My dad and I were going to look at a car. Well, I got a call from those guys saying, hey, we're interested in getting a new driver. We're interested in Jesse driving. They had a whole full program. They had already run a couple years with, they came from asphalt, and came to dirt, ran a couple years with Steve Landrum, who won several championships at Florida Speedway. And then when they decided to go their different ways, they got me in there, and I drove for them for, I think, about three and a half years. And then we kind of split and went our different ways, and I formed my own team, got a Warrior car, and we've been on our own team since then. Actually, it was me, Tom Richard, and my dad at one time, and then Woody, another friend of mine who passed away. He was a partner, and then Woody had to get out, and then a guy named Alan Spence got in, but it's been pretty much, I've been in it the whole time, and it's just been mine and my dad's program here for the last several years. But and ironically enough, Mark, who used to own the steel stuff, he came back and wanted to help us on the car in about 2010 or so, and he actually kept the car and everything in his shop for probably 4 years while I was coaching AAU basketball and running around, and now he's still on our team. So we got a pretty good team. I got Tom, Darren, Mark, Troy, Austin, myself, my dad, and then we get some other hands at the track here and there. You know what I mean? So, but Darren Gosney, he's been with me ever since the Battle of Bluegrass days. You know what I mean? And Mark was there before the Bluegrass days when I drove the steel. And Tom was with me some during the Battle of Bluegrass days. So Troy came on in about 2008, Troy Perry. So one thing I have been fortunate about throughout my career is I've had always pretty many guys that want to hang out and help and come to the shop during the week and be there and go in the trucks and go to the races on the weekends. So been super fortunate about that. I know for a lot of people, they can't find help, or the help that they get wants to come and help on Saturday. Well, that's the fun part. The hard part's the washing up, the cleaning up, and the body work, and the maintenance, and the loading, and the unloading, and cleaning the trailer, and wiping out the truck, and dumping the tanks. And there's a lot more to it, but people will take usually what they get. But I've been blessed throughout my career with always having 3 or 4 people like right there to just help out. So I'm very appreciative of those.
Yeah, for sure, man. And that's a good thing to have good help. I'm sure in this sport and continuing on through all these years in super late model racing. Well, give me Jesse, if you will, give me. I want to get to we're on here. This is the Harold Hardgrove Memorial preview show. I want to get to Harold here in just a moment. I want to talk to you a little bit about him. You've been in the sport for a long time, so I'm sure you remember Harold and raced at Lake Cumberland for years while he operated the racetrack. And, of course, Brandon is doing a great job there now. But give me one or two, just in general, your racing career, 1 or 2 memories of just something that sticks out to you. Other than the steel days, give me something else while we've got you on here.
A couple of things about Harold I remember is always had a cigarette in his hand. I don't think I ever seen him without a cigarette in his hand. He was always smoking. He was a dedicated smoker for sure. A driver's meeting, it didn't matter. He was smoking them down. And then the other thing was always at the driver's meeting, I can remember before Brandon even put the sign up, he said, if you don't like the way I run this place, you can buy me out. He just he didn't want to put up with any BS, and he wasn't going to put up with any BS. It was his way or the highway, and if you didn't like it, he didn't want to hear it. You know what I mean? But he worked his butt off, and he did a good job. I mean, he's definitely – he started the legacy, I think, of what Brandon is continuing and doing a fine job at.
Yeah, for sure. He did, and I talked to Brandon, and we had him on here last year. He was talking about his dad and the difference between himself and his dad. I saw posts throughout this week, and I think Harold in the racing community, he's known as that guy. If you don't like it, a lot of people talk about that. If you don't like it, buy me out. That was kind of his the way he ran his racetrack, and he did a great job, as good as anybody with running Lake Cumberland Speedway. Really, for all those years, I mean, Lake Cumberland has always been a great place, and that's a lot of thanks to Harold Hardgrove. But I've also saw people talk about promoters are always in the spotlight, and we have what we know in the racing community. But as a person, who Harold Hardgrove was, and paying people's bills without any recognition, and just personal things like that. He was a racer. He was hardcore. He ran his racetrack, but he was also a great human being as well. So.
Yeah, I think him and like Jerry King, who's also passed away, they both. If you didn't know them, they were very similar. They came off as real hard S's and real just like stern and this and that. But I think as promoters, a lot of times you have to put off that perception so they don't get a bunch of BS, because Jerry King, he would have done anything for me away from the track. We went to Florida for speed weeks, like my family and his family, and we spent a lot of time away from the track. One of the best guys you'll ever meet. Same way with Harold. And Harold, he was always great to me and nice as could be, but I've had several conversations with him. Would do anything for anybody, but at those drivers' meetings and stuff, if you showed up, you didn't know, you're like, I ain't messing with this guy. I mean,
No.
He put on that front for sure if you didn't know him. But they're both soft-hearted and good people.
Yeah, I don't know too many people that would have messed with him either, So no, I get it, Wes. I think that's how you got to be a part of it as a racetrack promoter.
You have to be. You kind of have to have that bulldog mentality, and then at times you gotta be able to show a soft side. But 98% of the time, you gotta be that strong, stern bulldog type attitude. And one thing too, I was going to say, it was funny you said about Harold and smoking his cigarettes. That's the apple don't fall far from the tree, because Brandon's always got a cigarette in his hand.
Yeah.
I'd like to know how many cigarettes he smokes in a year.
Yeah. Especially on race day. I don't know.
Especially on race, the week of the race. Let's just say, let's just put it the whole week. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, that's certainly the truth. Well, Jesse, good luck this weekend. Can't wait to see you at Lake Cumberland Speedway. I know Wes said he saw you at the North South. I don't think I've met you in person, so looking forward to that this weekend as well. But good luck. Can't wait to see you at Lake Cumberland on Saturday.
All right. Well, I appreciate you guys having me on, as always. It's good to talk to you guys. Look forward to meeting you, Josh. Wes, I'll catch you Saturday, I'm sure. Hopefully we'll have something for that black 11 car. That guy has been on fire. It's like hopefully we'll have something for him, but if not, he's damn good. He's a special talent for sure.
Yeah.
He is. That whole family, we was happy for James getting a podium finish. He run third there at the Butterball, and I was more happy for him than for Ricky and Tyler, especially him being a Kentucky boy. But I said, heck of a run, man. And he was tickled to get a good podium finish, and ran a good race. He really did.
My family's real good friends with his family. Holly only lives about a mile from me. Down around the corner and up the hill, maybe 2 miles. So I've known him ever since he was a little kid. Coach Josh in basketball. I've known James forever. He used to date my daughter a little bit in elementary school. So I've known them forever. Both great kids, both good racers. Like racing against them. But Josh, he's one of those regional guys that can compete on the national level. If anybody's coming to Kentucky and Ohio, it don't matter what your name is. You're going to have to beat that black 11, because he's special.
That's exactly right. Well, one last question. We got one last question from David Tilley. He said to ask you if you're ready to camp with a bunch of rednecks. He's referring to, I'm sure, at the World 100.
Yes, I am. I do camp with him up there, and it does get a little bit redneck up there. But it's all fun, I can tell you that. We enjoy going up there and watching. We don't race up there much anymore, but we really like going up there and hanging out with people and watching the show and just hanging out with people you don't get to see that often. I only see David when we go down there to Lake Cumberland most of the time.
Yeah.
Well, breaking news, Jesse. Yeah, we're gonna be camping. We're gonna be camping with you this year too. David's got a spot, so get ready. I can't wait.
Add
It's
2
gonna be
more
fun.
rednecks or 3 more. My wife will be with me too, so add 3 more rednecks to the crew.
Sounds good. It's all good.
Yeah. All right, buddy. It'll be fun. Again, thank you for coming on. It was a blast. We really appreciate it. We'll see you on Saturday.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Good luck this weekend, buddy.
All right, Jesse Lay here on Dirt Racing in the Bluegrass Live, man. We've had so many people on here over the last couple months. Those guys are just so much fun to talk to, all of them, and love having the drivers on our podcast. It's just so much fun, and he's one that is just truly regionally and locally here in our area. Man, I'd call him a legend. You know, when you say Jesse James Lay, anybody that's been to a dirt track knows who you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely, and to have done it for so long too. I mean, he said he started his career in '89, so heck, I would have been 4. And was you even born yet?
I was born in '88.
You was born in '88. Okay,
Yep.
So I mean, that's just really cool. And yeah, he is a legend. And what's even cooler is he's getting to do this with his son. And like he mentioned, you know, there may be nights that they both run, but he's just as excited to play crew guy and help Austin, you know, week in and week out. And kind of runs kind of a limited schedule, kind of picks and chooses. But it just has to be super cool for the both of them to run up and down the road and race together every weekend.
Yeah, it definitely has to be a cool thing for sure. I would think, Wes. You know, just he's kind of like, I mean, I can't think he's had a great career, but then to be able to help your son in Austin, you know, at this point has to be a lot of fun for him. So they'll both be there on Saturday. At Lake Cumberland. I know you're looking forward to it too, buddy. We're going to cap off the month of August with the Harold Hardgrove Memorial on Saturday, and I'll be honest, man, I can't wait. Hate to see it come to an end. August is flying by, but it's going to be a big way to end the month of August.
It's true. That's true. I hate to see the month end, but we're going to go out with a bang. And I just really look forward to another really great night of racing. I expect great car counts in all the classes. A big crowd. Fans come out, support this event. This is a super special race for Brandon and his family. And, you know, in honor of his dad. So fans, drivers, you know, everybody come out and let's have a great night of racing on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, well, one more thing I want to do real quick, Wes, while we've got just a few minutes here. Popbit gave us a box full of goodies. We've got all kinds of stuff here. I've got koozies. I've actually got some shop rags. Look, I mean they're labeled and everything, man. They've got their logo on there. I'm not going to give those away. I'm going to keep those for myself. I can use them around here. Hey, it's one of the advantages of running a podcast. But I've also got a hoodie, a Popbit hoodie, a T-shirt. Those are both 2X that they asked us to give away. I've got a size small, medium hat that I want to give away here on the show tonight. I've also got 8 Pop Bits. So I want to give these to some drivers. If you're going to be at Lake Cumberland this weekend, drivers, this is important because I ain't mailing them. I'm not shipping them. None of that stuff. I'll bring them to the track on.
If he can remember to bring them.
If I can remember. Yeah, that's right. If I can remember it. I'll put them in my truck as soon as the podcast ends. They'll be in there till Saturday because I've got I do have that issue. So the the first 8 drivers on here tonight that I see to tell us what your favorite part of this podcast is. Tell us what you like most about our podcast. I'll give you a pop bit. These things are pretty cool too, Wes. You know, one of the most frustrating things, you're doing body work on a race car, rivets get stuck on the drill bit. With these, you don't have to worry about it. They just fall right off. So first 8 drivers, tell me what's your favorite part about this podcast. I've got 8 of them. I'm going to give them away this weekend at the racetrack. And then for the hoodie, it's a 2X. Like I said, it's a 2X. This is pretty easy. I'm making it easy, man. First person to tell me the nickname of Jesse James Lay, you're going to win the Pop Bit hoodie. For the T-shirt, Wes, what should we do? 2X. It's a 2X. It's a Pop Bit T-shirt. What's the what do you want to do? How are we going to give that one away worldwide? On the fly.
On the fly. Let's see. Who's the points leader of the Valvoline Ironman Late Model Series coming into Saturday?
Okay, there you go. I like it. So the first person that Wes sees that gets that right, we'll give you a Pop Bit T-shirt.
Let's see. Looks like the first. Let's see. Logan Preston said my voice. I guess that's his favorite. That's Logan's favorite part of the
Wes's
podcast.
voice. Oh man! All right, so he gets a Pop Bit for sure. He gets one. Yeah. What is it about? What is it about Wes's voice, Logan? That's what I want to know. That's is it soothing? Is it, does it rock? It's 9 o'clock. Does it rock you to sleep? Like, what is it about Wes there? Let's see. Who's the first person that said? All right. Looks like Craig Stocks.
Looks like Craig Stocks, the Last Outlaw. Okay. So, are you writing this stuff down, Josh? Or you want me to?
No, I want you to. You're the one that's got the list over there.
I know it. I got lists. All right. Yeah. So Craig Stocks won. What did Craig win?
He won the hoodie.
Okay. 2X hoodie. All right. Let's see.
Jessica says Josh Rice. I don't even know. Is that right?
Yeah, he's leading. Was that the first one? I believe so.
I think so.
All right. Yeah. So she wins the T-shirt.
She's got the Pop Bit T-shirt.
Okay.
All right. Let me go through here real quick and see. We'll edit this all from the podcast. We're doing the best.
We're in the giveaways right now.
We'll take this out. We've got to get this before we get off the show, Wes, or we'll forget to do the giveaway. That's the whole issue.
It's got to be nailed down right now.
All right. So I see. All right, Logan Preston, Wes's voice. He wins a Pop Bit. Anthony Brock. He says the stories. He wins the Pop Bit.
Okay.
Greg Miller, he enjoys the guests and the times he gets to call in. Makes his Wednesday nights better. It's our good buddy Greg Miller, so he gets a Pop Bit.
Yeah, what about Annabeth wearing his hat today? He gave her a shout out there a while ago.
Oh yeah, I missed that. I'll be honest, I did. I totally missed it. All right, Sherry Lanham, she says laughing at you two loons. Does she have is she a race car? Does she have any use for a Pop Bit?
Does she? Well, she's not a driver. So you just said the first 8 drivers get a Pop Bit.
Oh, okay. So she's disqualified then.
Yeah, she got black flagged.
All right, and that's all. That's okay. Craig Stocks says driver interviews. Do we have him down for a Pop Bit? How many is that?
Craig would be 4, so we still got 4 drivers left.
So we've still got 4 Pop Bits left. If anybody wants to put on there, driver, if you want to put what your favorite part of the podcast is or favorite thing about dirt racing in the Bluegrass Live.
I mean, he's won twice.
Well, that's all right.
Look here.
All right,
Raymond Fuson.
Oh, I took it back down on you. We hit it at the same time.
Well, don't do that to me.
Well, I do. I don't know. I don't know when you're just going to sit there and watch me do all the work, or whether you're going to do something.
I'm a worker. Mike Jewell told you I wasn't lazy. I'm a worker.
Yeah. Mike Jewell don't know you very well,
Look
does
here.
he?
Look here. Oh, man.
Eric Parton,
Live's
Top 5. All right, Wes, we got to get back going with the Live's Top 5. That's 2 answers for Live's Top 5. We ain't done it in a month. You're going to have a whole month of results to catch
I'm
up
gonna
on.
have
Put
to
them
have
in
your
the,
help on it. It's all I know. You pushing all that work on me. We'll have to work on that one together.
Hey, you gonna help me get the infographics together and the studio set up and the you don't even know how to do any of that stuff. You can at least get the results. You'll be all right. I believe in you. All right.
Yeah. I'm the favorite. You see that Brandon said World Wide West. That's the main reason he watches.
That's the only reason he the only reason he watches the podcast. He's part of the World Wide West fan club. So, well, all right, we've been on here long enough. If we find any more drivers that want to pop bit, we'll add them to the list. Thanks everybody for watching. We've still got a few people on. Lasted through our giveaway and everything, and us trying to get a list together and all that good stuff. So, Wes, you haven't done it in a while. Why don't you read off our sponsors and close us out here?
All right, sounds good. As I said earlier, just a big thanks to our sponsors and our tracks, promoters, fans, drivers. We just a huge thank you to you all for your support. Smokehouse Grill and Buffet, Racetrack Connection, Bluegrass Restoration and Construction, The Detail Shop, Extreme Signs and Graphics, Fast Track Racing Series, Ultimate Heart of America, Late Model Series, Dirtman Diecast, CT Promotions, Mudlick Valley Raceway, Richmond Raceway, Rockcastle Speedway, Thunder Mountain Speedway, Lake Cumberland Speedway, Ponderosa Speedway, Ironman Bruce Built Modifieds, and Valvoline Ironman Late Model Series. So thank you all very much, and we will see you Saturday night at Lake Cumberland Speedway for the Harold Hardgrove Memorial.
Yep, we'll see you there. Everyone have a good evening. Night. See you at the races. Harold Hardgrove Memorial Saturday, man. Can't wait. We'll be there.